It's Friday night. Say yeah, for it's another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you, alongside good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Week 9 of NFL Friday here this evening on this rainy Friday night. We apologize for the late start. MF had some things he needed to take care of. So, well, it's not a problem because we got a very small docket this week. We only have 12 games to get into here, but of course, Week 9 kicked off last night with the Zonk game of the week, far and away. And believe me, it was a Zonk. The San Francisco 49ers hounded the Oakland Raiders 34-3 last night behind a new star that shined right before our very eyes by the name of Nick Mullins. And who knows, maybe we'll talk about him on the next show. But nonetheless, Niners all over the Raiders 34-3. So yeah, so we got a big show for you here tonight. We welcome in any new viewers who might be joining us for the first time. And yeah, it's going to be a great show here tonight. And 6 teams on bye this week: the Arizona Cardinals, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Giants, and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, all on bye for this week. So without any further ado, gentlemen, we're going to start it off, and we're going to start it off with one of our 3 big games of the week. I told you that last night as we wrapped up College Football Thursday. We had 3 huge matchups, and we're not wasting any time. We're going to get into the first one right here and now. It also happens to be the Tony and Mikey game of the week. This is our game of the week right here. And how many of these have we done over the years? The Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. This game, of course, will be broadcast on CBS, and we'll be getting this game on our local affiliate, the WPRI 12. For CBS, it'll be Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn on the call for that one. And it is the Ravens opening up as 2.5 to 3-point favorites. They met earlier this year on a Sunday night in Pittsburgh, and the Ravens won that one 26-14. So it cuts the Steelers' regular season series lead down to 24-21. And snapping a 3-game losing streak to the Steelers. And Steelers won the last meeting in Baltimore last year. That was a 26-9 final. Ravens last won at home against the Steelers the year before, 2016. That was a 21-14 final. So, yeah, here we go. We're going to be leading off with the Tony and Mikey game of the week right here. And how exciting. I mean, the Steelers have lost 4 of their 5 games in Baltimore since 2011, averaging 16.1 points a game. Pittsburgh is good enough to manufacture yards on the road, but Baltimore knows how to control the tempo in this matchup, and the Ravens are desperate to stop a 2-game slide. The Ravens are banged up, but they're desperate because a loss would put a significant dent in their playoff hopes. This is the time of the season when Baltimore gets hot under Coach John Harbaugh. The Ravens have the NFL's best record in November since the start of the 2008 season. That record, oh, by the way, 30-12. That's pretty damn good. Ravens, according to the FPI, are 58.3% favorites. This game has the most impact on divisional races of any game in Week 9. The winner will become the favorite to win the AFC North, according to FPI. The Steelers would have a 72% chance to win the division with a victory, 37% with a loss, while the Ravens would have a 42% chance with a win, only 10% with a loss. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this matchup. Final score for me, I'm going to go 21-17, Baltimore over Pittsburgh. Nothing more to say. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher. This is it. This is our game of the week. What a way to start off our Week 9 edition of NFL Friday. How many of these have we done over the years? And, oh, man, I mean, I can only imagine another chapter is going to be added to this legendary rivalry, and I cannot wait. So many of these we've done over the years. I cannot wait to add another one.
I mean, it could be from a regular season to playoffs, whatever the case may be. Anytime these two teams get it on, it's always electrifying. It's fireworks. It's a divisional war, and this is one of those battles. It's a divisional war. Last team standing is gonna make or break for them. So we'll wait and see what happens. This is gonna be a good game, no doubt about it. Look, Pittsburgh is definitely one of those teams. We got to talk about it. Where do they play in the whole grand scheme of things and everything else? We'll have to wait and see. But I mean, we all remember there's been some iconic moments, and as a matter of fact, there's one that they're talking about right now in on the NFL on CBS on the Facebook page. If you remember, the Troy Polamalu, the pick six that sealed the victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers and sent them to the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl 45, if I remember correctly, was the pick six. So we'll wait and see what happens.
It was 43.
Oh, it was 43. All right. So I stand corrected. And, you know, we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a good matchup, great battle. I'm going to go with Baltimore, too. I like Baltimore at home. I think they're the better team. There's really not much to say other than that. Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of the most historic rivalry games when you got two rivals like the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers going at it. I mean, whether it's been in the regular season or in the playoffs, I mean, we've seen them go for some instant classics. And like you just mentioned, Fletch, I mean, the pick six by Troy Polamalu that sent them to Super Bowl 43. Or what about that divisional round matchup back in 2010 when they faced each other? I mean, that was another good game between them in the playoffs. So, or let's not forget the wild card game in 2014, where Baltimore went into Pittsburgh and won that. So, I think the key here is for Baltimore to win is to put a lot of pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, and you definitely, and for Pittsburgh to win, they need their guys to really step up, whether it's Connor or Antonio Brown. So, but to me, I think this is going to end up being a low scoring game. I'm going to make it 3-for-3 and go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this one. My final score, I'm actually going to go 20-17 is going to be my final score on this one. So nothing more to say. Florio, on to the next game.
Yes, and some other great Steeler-Raven memories, of course. Christmas a couple years ago, that 5-star classic they had in Pittsburgh. Who will ever forget that? And then last year, another 5-star Sunday night in Pittsburgh that the Ravens won, and I should say the Steelers won, rather. And one great moment that came from their games in Baltimore back during the 2008 season when the Steelers won on that late touchdown. You know, they had to review it like 30,000 times, but then they finally got it, and yeah, that was an iconic moment there. So another great chapter will be added, and MF and I cannot wait to get into that one. So, all right, let's move on to our next matchup, and we have the Chicago Bears squaring off against the Buffalo Bills at New Era Field in Buffalo. This game will be on Fox, and working that one will be Chris Myers with Daryl Moose Johnston and Laura Oakman. And the Chicago Bears are the biggest favorite of the week. They're 10-point favorites against Buffalo this week. Chicago also leads the all-time series 7-5. Their last meeting was 2014 in Chicago. The Bills actually came away with the win, 23-20 in overtime. And their last meeting in Buffalo, you got to go back to 2002. And the Buffalo Bills won that one 33-27 in overtime. The Chicago Bears have only won in Buffalo once. That was all the way back in 1979, a 7-0 final that day. So, MF, started with you here. Nathan Peterman's going to be starting for Buffalo, and that can only mean trouble for Buffalo, that is.
And especially if Khalil Mack comes back and plays the way that he normally has been playing this season, out of his mind. is the key word. Yeah, if it is the case, then yeah, it's going to be a long day for the Buffalo Bills. Mitchell Trubisky has done pretty well for himself. Cohen's been a beast, man. I don't know what there is to say. He's looked really good lately. It's going to be an interesting matchup, but yeah, I kind of feel like this is going to be a statement game, a statement win for the Chicago Bears. So I got Chicago winning this one pretty handily, pretty comfortably, I should say. Nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough for the Bills that Nathan Peterman is going to be starting because we know how terrible he is, and if you add the fact, like Fletcher said, if Khalil Mack comes back, which I think he will, it's only going to make matters worse. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. I got the Chicago Bears winning this one big time. So Florio, I give it to you, and we said it once, and we're going to say it once again. Let the hard times continue for your team. I hope you enjoyed last season.
I'll always cherish last season, man. I absolutely will. But yeah, the Bears enter Week 9 tied for first in the NFL with 11 interceptions. Chicago is also the only team in the league to not allow a rushing touchdown this season. And the Bills will start Nathan Peterman at quarterback on Sunday. What else needs to be said? The Bills lead the NFL in throwing interceptions on 5.4% of pass attempts, which would be the fourth highest rate by any team in an entire season since 2001. The Bears lead the NFL in intercepting opposing quarterbacks on 4.5% of pass attempts. Peterman's 11.1% interception rate is the highest among any active quarterbacks. Chicago, biggest favorite of the week. They're 79.6% favorites. You can practically round it up to 80%. Peterman has a 9.2 total QBR in his career, the second lowest of any QB to throw at least 75 passes in the QBR era, which was since the start of the 2006 season. Lock of the week, without a doubt, Chicago Bears. They're going to roll easily on this one. 27-6, Chicago all over Buffalo. Nothing more to say. Let's get into our next matchup here. An NFC South divisional matchup. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. This one will be on Fox. We've got Kenny Albert back with his team of Rondé Barber and the beautiful Sarah Walsh. You remember Sarah Walsh? She used to be on ESPN. She'll be roaming the sidelines for that Tampa Bay Carolina game. Carolina opening up as 6 to 7 point favorites. First of two divisional meetings between these two. The other will be a month from now in week 13. They'll be meeting again in Tampa, but this one's in Charlotte. Let me just check this one more time. Okay, Carolina. Carolina leads the all-time series 22 to 13. Carolina swept both meetings a year ago, including the game in Charlotte, 22 to 19. Carolina won. Tampa's last win in Charlotte the year before, 2016. That was a 17-14 final. So, Bullock, start this one with you. Carolina looking good, but Tampa Bay, I mean, give it up for Tampa Bay. I mean, they nearly pulled off a big upset in Cincinnati last week, but came up just a bit short. Carolina, though, continuing to look good. A nice win for them last week as well. So, who do you like in this NFC South clash?
Yeah, I mean, when the Bucks put Ryan Fitzpatrick in there, I mean, the offense I thought looked good and almost definitely pulled off the upset over the Cincinnati Bengals. So you gotta give Tampa Bay some credit for hanging in there. Now, can they hang around with a team like the Carolina Panthers, which are doing good up to this point with a record of 5-2? So we're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, because what can you say? Cam Newton is. It seems like he's getting back to the form of what we saw during that NFC Championship run that got them to Super Bowl 50. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, and all I can say is, I mean, this is another team to keep an eye out in the NFC when it comes to once we get to the the home stretch of the season. So yeah, I got Carolina winning this one. I'm going to say my final score is going to be 31-20 is going to be my final score. I expect Cam Newton to make some big plays, not just with his arms, but with his legs as well. So yeah, so there's definitely nothing more needs to be said. So Florio, I give it to you.
The Bucs are hoping Ryan Fitzpatrick can infuse some Fitz magic on the road in a must-win game against the Panthers, but their shorthanded defense will continue to hold them back. Stopping the run was a strength of the Bucs until last week against the Bengals. They have to get that corrected, considering the Panthers lead the NFL with 28 explosive rushing plays, 12 or more yards this season. Cam Newton is envious of Fitzpatrick's beard because he has trouble growing one. Everything else around this game favors Newton and the Panthers. There's just no way the Bucs, dead last in scoring defense and 29th in total defense, can stop Newton and a hot Carolina offense. Whatever magic Fitzpatrick has will be stymied by the league's 13th ranked defense. Carolina, 80.3% favorites according to the FBI. Fitzpatrick brings superior numbers to those of Jameis Winston in completion percentage, yards per attempt, TDI&T ratio, and total QBR, 78.6 to 56.1. Fitzpatrick ranks 4th in the league in total QBR this season, while Winston ranks 20th. There's nothing more to say. I got the Carolina Panthers winning this one. I got them pulling away 34-17, Carolina over Tampa Bay, continuing their winning ways, coming off that nice win against Baltimore last week, which was our game of the week last week. So nothing more to say here. MF, Carolina continues their winning ways?
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. With the way that Carolina played last week was really impressive. No doubt about it. Definitely opened the eyes of quite a few people. And I think they will be better off. They will be better off. Even though I like Tampa, especially now that they got rid of Jameis Winston and went back to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think you can tell Fitzmagic is a lot more better. They're a lot more stronger, a lot more everything. But at the end of the day, it's a what have you done for me lately type of league. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but Carolina's on the rise. Tampa's on the decline. So I think it's going to happen again. I got Carolina winning this game. It's going to be pretty tight for most of the game, but I think it's going to be like a 30-13 final score with the Carolina Panthers getting the job done again and keeping on their winning ways. So nothing more to say. Anthony, on to the next game.
Back to our side of the ledger. You can make an argument that this could be a sleeper game right here. The Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Cleveland Browns at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, the Dog Pound. This one will be on CBS with Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Bruce Arians, and Melanie Collins. Kansas City opening up as the second biggest favorite of the week. They're opening up as 8 to 9 point favorites. Kansas City leads the all-time series 12-11 with 2 ties. The first one came in 1973. They played to a 20-20 tie in Kansas City. And the other was in 1989. They played to a 10-10 tie in Cleveland at the old Dog Pound, the municipal stadium. Let me see. Their last meeting was 2015. That was in Kansas City. Chiefs won that 17-13. Chiefs have won the last 2 meetings in this series. Both of those were in Kansas City. The other in 2013. KC also won that 23-17. Last meeting in Cleveland, go back to 2012. The Browns pounded the Chiefs that day, 30-7. Chiefs last win in Cleveland, not that long ago, only 2010. That was a 16-14 win for Kansas City in the Dog Pound there. So the Browns have allowed 30 points a game over their past 5 games, and that won't cut it against the Chiefs, who lead the NFL in scoring at more than 36 a game. Though it's on the Cleveland offense to keep up with the Chiefs, and that's not likely. Cleveland has scored more than 23 points just once this season, and even if it does it again against a wobbly Kansas City defense, it will not be enough. Optimism exploded this week when the Browns fired their head coach Hugh Jackson and offensive coordinator Todd Haley. Now a team that gave up 33 to Pittsburgh last week is staring down the barrel of the best offense in the league and a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who has 3 consecutive games with 4 touchdown passes. this one has not just ugly written all over it, but bowling shoe ugly, if I do say so myself, in the immortal words of JVL. KC, big favorites in the FPI. FPI has them as a 78.1% favorite to win this. Patrick Mahomes has been on an incredible run and leads the NFL in total QBR this season at 83.8. But will the Browns be the ones to slow him down? Cleveland has allowed a league low 31.3 total QBR at home this season, holding opposing quarterbacks to 3 touchdowns and 7 interceptions at First Energy Stadium in 2018. But even with that, I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this one, going away 44-17, Kansas City, all over the Cleveland Browns and their new coaching staff. MF, I mean, Cleveland had to fire Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley, and question is it going to do them any good now that Greg Williams is at the helm?
It might improve them on the defensive side, but I don't think so. Offensively, they're just offensively they're decent. They're not trash. They're not bad. They're not horrible. Like other years, they can move the football. They can get points. The only problem is that Kansas City is just a juggernaut. Defensively, all right, they have their moments where they do make some mistakes. There's some lapses, whatever you want to call them. They don't play perfect football. But offensively, who can really stop Kansas City? I mean, you can put any type of defense against them, they carve them up. I mean, okay, New England gave it their best shot, and they got tagged for 40. And you know how good New England's defenses have been. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, I think it's going to be a big victory, another win for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going to remain the top dogs in the AFC right now. So, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City, I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, they continue to be on a roll. I mean, up to this point. I mean, the offense has been good, but the thing is, the defense has been atrocious. I mean, but the offense has been basically picking them up. And Pat Mahomes, I mean, what can you say? I mean, right now, I mean, you got to say he's the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. And well, let's just say me and Fletch for right now, we're eating that slice of humble pie right now, because when we had our preview, our NFL preview earlier in the, I think it was about a couple months ago, we both thought that Pat Mahomes was going to be bad because he had a terrible preseason and the Chiefs were going to go nowhere. But yeah, so far, me and Fletch, we have egg on our faces right now. But it's still a long way to go. I mean, yes, they've had a good regular season, but the thing is, can they improve, especially on the defensive side, before the playoffs? Because if you're going up against a good team and your defense is not good, I don't care how good your offense is, you're going to go out early. So yeah, I think they should have no problem with Cleveland. I'm going to say 41-17 is going to be my final score. So there's nothing more to say. Florio, let's move on.
We move on to our next game, and MF is right on cue because he knows he leads off, and it's only fitting he leads off because it's his team coming up. It's going to be the New York Jets squaring off against MF's Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, their second meeting this year. I believe it was back in week number 3 these two teams met in the Meadowlands, and it was the Miami Dolphins who came away with the win, a 20-12 score, I believe that was. And with that win, it cuts the Jets' all-time series lead. The Jets still lead the series, but the lead is now 54-50 with a tie. And let me check this all here. By the way, I forgot to mention Andrew Catalan and James Lofton will be on the call for CBS. And the spread favors the Miami Dolphins. 2.5-3 is the spread for Miami here. Last year, in Miami, the Miami Dolphins defeated the New York Jets by a score of 31-28, snapping a long losing streak to the Jets. The Jets had beaten the Dolphins in Miami the last few years. Last year marked the Dolphins' first home win against the Jets since 2011. I mean, it snapped a 5-year home losing streak to the Jets last year. One of those games, by the way, in London, England as well, at Wembley. So let's get that out of the way. And that win in New York also snapped a long losing streak for the Dolphins against the Jets in the Meadowlands. That was it was only a 3-year losing streak, but Dolphins won their first time in New York since 2014. So a lot of history here, 54-50 now with a tie. So it's only fitting that MF starts this off. Dolphins, your Dolphins started 3-0. It looked like, oh my goodness, could this be the year that Miami actually dethrones New England in the East? But then once Miami got to New England, Patriots had their way with them. And I hate to say it, but it's been hard times for your Dolphins since. But who knows? Maybe this could finally be the relief here.
I don't know, because of his injuries. The injuries have killed Miami, and that's been the biggest problem. We lost Albert Wilson for the season with the hip injury. We don't know if we're going to have Kenny Stills on Sunday, which meant we had to rely on Levante Parker. We already now know Ryan Tannehill will not play for the 4th consecutive game with this shoulder injury. I mean, it's been a rough season for the Miami Dolphins, to say the very least. We started out like gangbusters, big wins early in the season. Yeah, we got thrashed by New England. Then, it was a bizarre thing that's been going on lately. The game against Cincinnati, our offense absolutely crapped the bed on us. Basically, Tannehill made so many mistakes at the end after Miami was well ahead of that game. They were up 17-3, looked like they were on their way to winning that game, and they choked in Cincinnati. Then the game against Chicago, Miami was trailing that game. They came back. They won the game in overtime, so you're thinking, all right, maybe they stopped the bleeding there. Then a couple of hiccups along the way, injuries, bad game against the Detroit Lions, where maybe we should have had that game. We should have probably made a better comeback. We could have won that game. I don't know. Then, of course, the Thursday night game where we played great for a half, and then everything fell apart in the second half, and, we lost that game too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the struggle, the focus, I don't know if it's because of the injuries or just bad coaching, but it's just one thing after another, and it's frustrating if you're a Miami Dolphin fan because, obviously the expectations weren't that high going in because of the fact that, last year was a flame-out year. Tannehill got injured at the beginning of the season, tearing his ACL, and that basically ended our season right before it even got started. Then we blew up the team, got rid of Ndamukong Suh, got rid of some guys that we thought, big money guys that we were just like, we're going to rebuild and everything else. And then all of a sudden the 3-0 start, and you're thinking, whoa, are we ahead of the curve here? And now they come back down to earth. Obviously, we want to beat the Jets. We want to beat the AFC Eastern Division foes. Those are the most important games because, if for some reason, if it gets tight or anything else, maybe we make a big run towards the end. If New England starts to falter some way, somehow, because New England's got some tough games down the road, not just against Green Bay, but they got to deal with Pittsburgh. They got some big boys still to come, and there's some winnable games for the Dolphins in the second half of the season. We still have a long way to go and everything else, but this is a must win for Miami. If they don't win this game, I think it's basically fire sale time. You basically throw your hands up and it's like, well, that's the season, boys. There's nothing we can do about it at that point. So obviously you want to beat the Jets. Jets are kind of hanging in there. They want to get a big win as well because they're thinking, maybe we can get a big run second half. We don't know. But obviously going into this, you kind of have a feel like maybe this is Miami's game to win because of the fact that they're at home. They haven't lost at home. Well, they only lost the game against Detroit. That was their only home loss of the season. But other than that, they've been hanging in there. They've been playing good lately. So we'll see what happens. I think Miami will get the win here. It's not going to be the most glamorous victory, but when it comes to guys like Frank Gore, Kenyon Drake, they're playing great. Levante Parker had an unbelievable game last week against the Houston Texans. He was sidelined for the last 3 weeks. There was a lot of drama in Miami, and yeah, it was almost rivaling the Kardashian and all that crap that we love very much. But all of a sudden he almost had a damn near 100-yard outing. So I think Miami will get the job done because, like I said, the Jets are not that good. We can easily expose them if we wanted to. But, we'll just have to wait and see. Miami wins it. Not the most glamorous victories, 24-21, but it's going to at least stop the bleeding for the moment or us carrying on more water on a sinking ship. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, about Miami. I mean, a 3-0 start for them, and I mean, you were thinking maybe there was a chance that they could compete with the Patriots, but ever since they went up to New England, it just hasn't been the same for the Miami Dolphins. And like you said, the injury bug has bit them, and yeah, I mean, Miami definitely needs this victory if they want to have any chance at a playoff spot, because if they lose this game to the lowly Jets, yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Miami. They could start, like Fletcher said, it could start a fire sale. Well, we'll just have to wait and see, but I got my Miami winning as well, and it's going to be close. I'm going to say I'll go 27-24. Miami beats the Jets. So, Florio, I give it to you. And what can you say? I mean, is this a must-win game for the Dolphins?
Absolutely a must-win for Miami. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Coach Todd Bowles, Jets head coach Todd Bowles, said, and I quote, "This will be an AFC East bloodbath." He's right. It will not be pretty. Both teams are struggling, but the Jets have a rookie quarterback, Sam Darnold, on the road. They're not a good road team, having dropped 10 of their past 12. Miami can secure the second series sweep of its northern rival this decade in what appears to be a fairly even battle between middling AFC East teams. In the 20-12 September victory at New York, the Dolphins' defense was the difference as it notched 3 turnovers and 3 sacks. Miami has struggled to stop the run recently, but it spent 10 days working on adjustments to fix things. Expect a close back-and-forth matchup, but the Dolphins' opportunistic defense and use of Kenyon Drake as a receiver on offense should lead them to a much-needed win. Miami is the favorite, according to the FPI, 61.1% favorite. The Dolphins are the only team currently ranked in the bottom 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency this season, according to FPI. The Jets rank 6th in defensive efficiency overall, but just 18th on the road. So the Dolphins are favored at home. I got Miami winning as well. 23-20 is my final score in favor of the Miami Dolphins. So let's move on to another divisional matchup. This one out of the NFC North. We got the Detroit Lions squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings over at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, the home of this past year's Super Bowl. This one will be on Fox. Tom Brenneman back with his team of Chris Spielman and the lovely Jen Hale. We have Minnesota opening up as 5.5 to 6 point favorites. And this rivalry, one-sided since the start. These two teams first started playing each other back in 1961, and it has been all Minnesota in this rivalry. 72-39 with 2 ties in favor of the Minnesota Vikings. However, both teams split last year. Both teams won on the road. So that meant Detroit actually won in Minnesota last year, 14-7. Matter of fact, the Lions have won the last 2 meetings in Minnesota because they also won there in 2016. That was a 22-16 overtime win. Minnesota's last home win against the Lions was 2015. That was a 26-16 final. So with all that being said, Michael Bullock, we'll start it off with you here. Big game here in the NFC North. Whoever comes out on top will definitely gain a bit of an upper hand here. I mean, it's a topsy-turvy NFC North, even though they're looking up at Chicago right now, I think.
Yeah, this is definitely a big game for both squads, but like you said, I mean, Minnesota is basically looking up to the Chicago Bears, and and as for Detroit, I mean, yeah, of course, the big story, of course, they traded one of their big name receivers, Golden Tate, to the Eagles at the trade deadline on Tuesday. So, and Matt Patricia did say that just because they traded him doesn't mean that they're giving up on the here and now. So, and he was one of their. But here's the thing, I mean, with Golden Tate, I mean, he was going to be a free agent at the end of the season, so I'm pretty sure the Lions would have wanted something back in return instead of just letting him walk in free agency. So yeah, so the this is going to be a tough road for Detroit here. So I got Minnesota winning this one. I'm going to go 31 to. I'm going to go 31-24 is going to be my final score. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, I give it to you.
Yes, big game in the NFC North. I mean, it's a topsy-turvy division right now. But anyways, the Lions have one of the more balanced offenses in the NFL. But they shook up the unit Tuesday, as Bullock mentioned, by trading Golden Tate to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. The team's leading receiver, Tate was the team's leading receiver. He leaves a hole in a certain part of Detroit's passing game. Adjusting could take time, and against Minnesota's defense, you don't have that luxury. It's a close game, but the Vikings' strong defense combined with another 100-yard game from Adam Thielen should give Minnesota the victory and push the Lions further down in the divisional race. The Vikings have lost 3 of their past 4 meetings with the Lions and need to get the best out of Kirk Cousins, who has struggled at times playing in U.S. Bank Stadium. If Stephon Diggs, despite a rib injury, is not able to play Sunday, the Vikings will have to get creative in the passing game since the Lions will likely keep 2 defenders on Thielen. With uncertainty still surrounding Dalvin Cook's hamstring and whether he'll play, this game feels like one where Latavius Murray should excel against the run defense, allowing an average of 5.1 yards a rush. Minnesota's top 10 defense has the edge at home in a bounce-back win. Minnesota is the favorite according to FPI, of course. They're a 73.2% favorite. Matthew Stafford has been much better on the road than at home this season, posting a 7-0 touchdown interception ratio and 75.9 total QBR away from Detroit, compared with a 7-6 ratio and 42.1 QBR at home at Ford Field. He has not faced a defense of this caliber on the road yet this season, however. Minnesota ranks 2nd in defensive efficiency, according to FPI, and 6th in opponent total QBR in home games this season. Minnesota Vikings win this game. I agree with you, Bullock. 27-21, Minnesota over Detroit. Nothing more to say, MF. That NFC Norris is a topsy-turvy division. I mean, anybody could win it, but this game might be significant over who could end up winning it in the end.
Well, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting matchup, no doubt about it. When you talk about the NFC North, and you even said it, there's some surprises right now. I mean, to see Chicago right at the top right now, and they're looking in a very good spot, no doubt about it. And like we said, then you got to go into the NFC, and you got Minnesota right there, Green Bay's right there, and you also have Detroit right there. So I mean, yeah, this is a big game. But I love Minnesota right now. The way that they're playing is just unbelievable. Adam Thielen, I mean, I don't even understand how this guy 100 yards every game up to this point, and he's getting no love in MVP conversations. How is that even possible right now? This guy is he could easily make over 1,000 yards by week 10, and he is unreal right now, playing out of his mind. Every game over 100 yards. Kirk Cousins been unbelievable this season. He's played really good, and a decent running game, good defense. Detroit, look, you can say whatever you want to say, but they just lost their wide receiver, one of their best wide receivers in Golden Tate, traded to Philadelphia during the trading deadline last week. That's a factor. That might be a major problem for Detroit. I just don't think I don't think that's something to sneeze at, guys. So I'm gonna go with Minnesota to win this game. I think they're gonna pull it off. So I got nothing more to say. Anthony, it's back to you for the next game.
And it's our final 1 o'clock early game. And this is a very interesting one. I can definitely consider this one of the sleeper games of the week. This one should be interesting. The Atlanta Falcons squaring off against the Washington Redskins at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. This game will be on Fox. And we have Kevin Burkhardt back from his Major League Baseball playoff commitments. He's back. He'll be reunited with his partners, Charles Davis and Pam Oliver. Redskins opening up as 1 to 2 point favorites. Series history favors the Washington Redskins 14-9 with a tie. That one tie came in their second meeting in 1967, a 2020 tie in Atlanta. Here's the thing, gentlemen. The Falcons have won the last 5 meetings in a row against the Redskins. Their last one came in 2015 in Atlanta at the old Georgia Dome. Falcons won that 25-19 in overtime. Their last meeting in Washington was in 2012. Falcons also won that 24-17. Matter of fact, guys, the last time the Washington Redskins won at home against the Atlanta Falcons, you got to go all the way back to 1993. That's the last time the Redskins came out of Washington. Well, back then it was RFK Stadium, not FedEx Field. Redskins won that one 30-17. So I believe it is I who leads off on this one. So, okay. The Redskins have thrived pounding the ball with an ageless Adrian Peterson and a powerful offensive line, while quarterback Alex Smith, with just 3 turnovers, makes wise decisions. The Falcons need to attack with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, regardless of what type of tempo the Redskins try to establish. The big issue for the Falcons might be Matt Ryan's offensive line, which has surrendered 10 sacks and 27 quarterback hits in 2 road games prior to Washington. The Redskins have lived on the edge for 3 consecutive games, with 1 or 2 plays possibly turning any of those games. 2 games came down to the final minute, and the third, at the Giants, shouldn't have been close. It hasn't always been pretty, but the running game with Peterson has helped Washington, and Atlanta can't stop the run. The Falcons allow 4.81 yards a carry and rank 20th in rushing yards allowed a game. The Redskins rank 3rd in time of possession, so their run strategy can keep Ryan and company off the field. Atlanta, very slight favorite, 49.8%. This game is projected by FPI to be so close that neither team has a 50% chance to win, with Atlanta the slightest of favorites. In fact, in FPI's data set since the start of the 06 season, this is the closest pregame projection by FPI in history. Very interesting. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Washington Redskins to win this game. My final score, I'm going to go 21-17, Washington over Atlanta. Nothing more to say. I mean, MF, when you hear numbers like that, closest FPI pregame set in history, wow, that's how close it is.
That means it can go either way. That means even the FPI doesn't know how this is going to go. And normally when this is the equivalent of a pick'em game. When you get something like that, it is the equivalent of a pick'em game. They don't know who to go for. That is a scary proposition because for us as broadcasters, that really kind of gives us an oh crap moment because then we're stuck in the mud. Who do we align with? Look, I like Washington at home. They're really good at home. The running game, they got a running game. The Washington Redskins has a running game with Adrian Peterson. Can they contain that? Can Atlanta some way, somehow try to stop that running attack? And if they do, is that going to be enough to give them the victory? I don't know. I mean, Atlanta has been a little bit of a look. Offensively, they're great. Defensively, man, they're a liability. And I think this could be one of those games where whoever's defense steps up to stop the offense might be able to pull this game off and win it. It's almost reminiscent of the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Eagles, where both offenses were really good. It's going to be one of those moments where a defense is going to have to step up. And if one of the defenses steps up, then you might get the winner right then and there. I think Washington is better at home than they are on the road. They proved it when they beat Dallas, and that was a huge divisional game. I think they're going to rise to the occasion again. I have not done this in a very long time. And Anthony, you know what I'm going to say? Oh, hail the Redskins! Yeah, that's right. The Redskins will fight for all DC one more time. They're going to rise up and beat the Atlanta Falcons. This is going to be a close game, 21-17. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, the Redskins, I mean, have been playing very well. I mean, Alex Smith having another really good season, and I'll tell you, adding Adrian Peterson really was a boost to this offense. And yeah, I mean, what's going on with the Falcons? I mean, we keep thinking that perhaps that they were going to break out at some point, but yeah, what you said is the offensive line has been the problem for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, Matt Ryan getting sacked a lot. I mean, yeah, I mean, and because of that, I mean, I expect the defense to really put pressure on Matt Ryan. So I got the Redskins winning this one as well. I'm going to go with that same score, 21-17. So nothing more to say. Let's just move right along, Florio.
And now we go into the late games, boys. We have 2 4:05 games on CBS. And the first one we're going to get into, we have the Houston Texans squaring off against the Denver Broncos at Broncos Field at Mile High in Denver. This one will be on CBS. Like I said, we've got Tom McCarthy and Steve Berline on the call. In one spread, Denver is a 1-point favorite. But in the other 2 spreads, they're listing this as a pick'em game. You thought that Atlanta-Washington thing was close. This might be just as close. But nonetheless, Denver leads the all-time series 4-2. Their last meeting was just 2 years ago in 2016. Denver won that going away 27-9 in Denver. Houston has only won in Denver once. That was back in 2012. Houston came out of Denver with a 31-25 win. So, MF, I believe we start this one off with you here. Houston, I mean, we talk about Miami. You know how Miami started 3-0 and then they went on a tailspin, but what has gotten into the Houston Texans? They've won 5 in a row since starting 0-3.
And the thing is that their defense has woken up and their offense has gotten better. They kind of abandoned the run a little bit. They didn't use much running. They did try to do the run attack last week against Miami, and for most of the game, they were able to succeed. But the one thing that really killed them, that killed Miami, that opened up the game and really got them going, was they had Will Fuller going and they had DeAndre Hopkins. When those two boys started getting hot, man, there was no stopping. But Fuller got hurt and he might be done for the season. I think he is. That's going to be a major, major problem for the Houston Texans. Plus, on top of that, with the latest moves that even Denver made, they got rid of one of their biggest weapons. Demaryius Thomas is gone. He got traded. He's actually playing for the Houston Texans now. He's on the enemy side. What were you thinking? This is the worst time to do that. You're playing the Texans. Demaryius Thomas is now on that team. You don't think he's giving the little birdie, telling all the little secrets about your offensive schemes and everything else? You don't think Houston's got a whole book on what Denver is going to throw at you? Ugh, idiots. I mean, that's a Stimpy, you idiot. Why would you do that, especially this week? Well, Houston's got the advantage. Big time. Two-headed monster now back in the wide receiver form. You got Demaryius Thomas, who's pissed off as all heck because of the fact that he got traded. And, oh, man, I got to say it. I got Houston winning. I think they're going to go into Mile High, and they're going to kick the doors down on the Denver Broncos, man. 28-10. You got rid of one of your biggest weapons, and you shipped them off to the team that they're going to play this Sunday. Idiots. Freaking idiots.
You
Bullet
idiots.
go.
Yeah. I mean, with Denver, what were you guys thinking? I mean, you ended up trading into the team that you're going to be playing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Demaryius Thomas was giving them some info on what kind of offense the Denver Broncos are scheming here. And, yeah, I mean, and the Texans need another receiver because, like you said, Fuller is done for the season. And now you've got Demaryius Thomas and DeAndre Hopkins. That makes that offense look even better. And defensively for the Texans, they're really starting to catch fire. And if that's the case, watch out. Then maybe this is the Texans team we all thought of going into the season. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. I got the Houston Texans winning this one as well. I'm going to go 28-20. Houston beats Denver, so nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
The Broncos felt strongly enough about their receiving core of Emmanuel Sanders averaging 82.5 yards a game and rookie Courtland Sutton that they were comfortable trading receiver Demaryius Thomas to the Texans earlier this week. If the Texans can contain Denver's passing game with their banged-up secondary, Houston's front seven led by Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt should be able to contain the run for a win. The Broncos traded their longest tenured player, Thomas, to the Texans this week, so a game Denver desperately needs to win to right itself in the season's second half has taken on a weird vibe, as linebacker Von Miller put it. To have any chance against Watt and company, the Broncos have to protect quarterback Case Keenum better. 20 of the 22 sacks Denver has allowed have come with Keenum in the shotgun. So how willing the Broncos are to pound away in the running game before they open up the passing game might determine the outcome. Denver, like I said, a very slight favorite. This is the second closest game behind that Atlanta-Washington game that we just got into. Denver, a very slight favorite. I don't know how or why. 50.7% for Denver. The Texans rank second in defensive efficiency this season and actually lead the league during their current 5-game win streak, 77.7 on a 0 to 100 scale. Houston also leads the league in defensive efficiency on the road this season, 66.9. Houston Texans win 20-17. Houston over Denver. So nothing more to say here. Let's move on to our other 405 kickoff over on the mothership. And that is a renewal of a once great divisional rivalry, an old AFC West rivalry renewed here. This is our number 2 game of the week, as MF and I agreed on. And this one should be a lot of fun. The Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. This one will be over on CBS. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, and Steve Tasker on the call. And we got another close one. The Chargers, just like with the last spread, Chargers are a 1-point favorite in one spread. 2 other spreads has this as a pick'em game as well. My goodness, if you can believe that. Seattle leads the all-time series 26-24. Their last meeting was 2014 in San Diego. Chargers won that 30-21. Last meeting in Seattle was 2010. Seattle won that one 27-20. And the Chargers' last road win in Seattle was back in 2006. That was a 20-17 win. You remember that Charger team went 14-2 that year and had the best record in the AFC before losing the Bullocks Patriots in that unforgettable divisional game that MF and I had a lot of fun with. So let me see. I believe it's Bullock who starts this one off. So the Bullock, an old AFC West rivalry renewed. The Chargers and the Seahawks, number 2 game of the week on our side.
Yeah, and you always know it's never easy going into Seattle, the home of the 12th man, to beat the Seahawks. I'll tell you what, I mean, with the Chargers, of course, they're coming off of a bye week. I mean, they've won 4 of their last 5. No. They've won 5 in a row. I mean, what can you say? I mean, 0-2 start. We were all thinking, yeah, not good for the Chargers, but for the Seahawks, well, the Seahawks are the ones coming off. The Seahawks will, let's just say, they've been playing 5, and that Chargers defense is going to have to deal with that mobile quarterback named Russell Wilson and a rushing attack led by Chris Carson, who has 457 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, and Phillip Rivers knows that they have to deal with that Seattle defense, even though it's not the same as it once was. So, I do expect this to be a close one, but in the end, I just think that the Chargers are more hot than Seattle. So, I'm going to go 24-20. The Chargers just edge out the Seattle Seahawks. Florio, it's yours.
In his past 2 games against a Pete Carroll-led defense, Phillip Rivers has completed 71% of his passes for 739 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So this matchup against an improved but young Seahawks defense could be a good one for the veteran. Working against former Seahawks defensive coordinator Gus Bradley's defense every day in practice should sharpen Rivers' preparation. A healthy Melvin Gordon should also provide balance on offense in a tough environment at Seattle. The Seahawks have looked like playoff contenders in winning 4 of their last 5 games and nearly upsetting the unbeaten Rams. That stretch seems more legitimate considering only one of the victories has come at home. They're back at CenturyLink Field on Sunday. They're as healthy as they've been all season, and they're running the ball as well as they have since 2015. The formula that has propelled Seattle since its 0-2 start could be enough against the Chargers. Seattle, another slight favorite here. That's been the theme in our last couple of games here. Seattle, they're favored by the FPI, but it's only 51.9% for Seattle. Phillip Rivers has a 92.2 total QBR on the road this season, which would be the highest in the season since QBR began being tracked in the 2006 season. He might have trouble maintaining that in Seattle, as the Seahawks have held opponents to a 53 total QBR this season, 6th best in the league. So with all that being said, it's a very tough one to call, but I agree with Bullock. I got to go with the Chargers here. I mean, I think they're the better team here. Would I be surprised if Seattle won at home? Absolutely not. But I got to go with the Chargers here. Barely. 28-24. Give me the Chargers over Seattle. Nothing more to say. MF, we made this our number 2 game of the week for a reason. Not just because they're renewing an old AFC West rivalry, but both of these teams are so evenly matched, and we easily could have called this one. But nonetheless, Chargers and Seattle should be a good one in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, without a doubt, great battle at home. Seattle's a really good team, but I'm with you guys. I gotta go with the Chargers as well. I think they're just a better team overall. It's gonna be a tough matchup, no doubt about it. But I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. I think they're gonna win the game as well. So let's just move on next game.
Are you ready, gentlemen? It's time. Not just the game of the week, but maybe as of right now, the game of the year. And for the first time in about 4 years here on NFL Friday, we're actually talking about a game of the century here. A little spoiler alert when it comes to our power rankings later on. Our top 2 teams, number 1 and number 2, are going at it on Sunday. My goodness, I cannot wait. We all cannot wait for this one. Are you ready? The Los Angeles Rams squaring off against the New Orleans Saints at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans on Fox. It's America's game of the week on Fox, 4:25 kickoff. In a game of this magnitude, it's only fitting that Joe Buck returns from his Major League Baseball playoff commitments with Troy Aikman. And we've got not one but 2 sideline reporters this week. It's basically going to have a Thursday night feel, because Aaron Andrews and Christina Pink will be joining Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for this huge game of the century right here in the Superdome. 3 different spreads here. The Rams are the favorite, but they're not huge favorites here. One spread has the Rams favored by 1. Another spread has the Rams favored by 1.5. And the final spread has the Rams favored by 2.5. So it's a 1 to 2.5 point spread for the Rams. Once upon a time, these 2 teams were divisional rivals. They used to meet in the old NFC West up until the realignment in 2002. Going back to all of that, the Rams lead the all-time series 41 to 32. They met last year in the Coliseum in MF. We actually had that one, as I recall. It was the Rams who won that game by a score of 26 to 20 in the Coliseum last year. Last meeting in New Orleans was the year before, 2016. Saints absolutely pounded the Rams 49-21. The Rams have not won in New Orleans since 2007. That was a 37-29 win for the Rams in 2007. So with all that being said, gentlemen, here we go for the game of the century. And it's only fitting I start off as the Joe Buck of Fox if we were doing that. But man, how I wish we could have had the cross flex come into play here. But nonetheless, the Rams have won 8 consecutive games, but the Saints in the Superdome are undoubtedly their biggest test yet, especially on offense. Defense could be the difference in this one. The Rams have the edge in that department after adding edge rusher Dante Fowler Jr. at the trade deadline, and with Aaron Donald's league-leading 10 sacks. But it might not be enough against Drew Brees, who gets the ball out fast. This is the latest in the season that 2 teams, averaging 33 points or more, have faced each other, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. The Rams have the edge on defense, led by Aaron Donald, and while they added firepower this week by trading for Dante Fowler Jr., the Saints lost firepower when rookie defensive end Marcus Davenport suffered a toe injury. However, the home field advantage could help the Saints, and there might not be a more battle-tested team in the NFL right now after they had to grind out come from behind victories at Baltimore and Minnesota in their past 2 outings. As has been the theme in the last few games, another close FPI ranking. It's the Saints. 49.8% for New Orleans, with a pregame matchup quality of 91.3. This is the second best matchup of the season, according to FPI, trailing only the game still to come in a couple weeks when the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Rams square off in Mexico. This game is also projected to be incredibly close, as only the Falcons-Redskins game noted earlier has a smaller spread in FPI's data set. Now, you all know. Everybody knows. MF knows, Bullock knows, and most of you know who've been watching. It's no secret. I love the Los Angeles Rams. I absolutely love this team. They are so fun to watch. They never disappoint me. I still think they are the best. They are the most complete and best team in the NFL, regardless of what MF has to say, when he was talking about Kansas City. And I'll give him that. But a game of this magnitude, and now if this game was in the Coliseum, I would definitely go with the Rams. But as much as I love the Rams, and I do, believe me, I do, I still think they're the team to beat. The New Orleans Saints. You know what? Rams, you've got another guest coming to the dinner table. And their names are the New Orleans Saints. If all goes well, this game could not only impact the NFC, the race for the number 1 seed in the NFC, but this could also end up being an NFC championship game preview. Who knows? We could see these two teams battling it out in January for the right to go to Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. That is how good these two teams are. And all is said and done, with this game being in the Superdome, I am actually going to call for the upset here. I'm going with the New Orleans Saints to hand the Rams their first loss of the year. New Orleans will win 28-24. New Orleans Saints over the Los Angeles Rams. Is there anything else I have to spell out for you guys? It's hard for me to go against the Rams. I love them, but I also love New Orleans as well. So 28-24, New Orleans hands the Rams their first loss of this 2018 season. MF, as I always say many of times, I got to channel my inner Jesse Ventura from WrestleMania 5. This is what the words main event were meant for. Because in my opinion, this is the main event of week number 9. Brother, it don't get no bigger. This game, in my opinion, we're going to see this again in January. I think these two teams are going to battle. And whoever wins this game, it could be well significant over who the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC will go through.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You don't really need a hype man for this one. You don't really need me to go hype man mode, because it is without a doubt one of the biggest games of the season. And, we had a game of the century not too long ago, a few weeks back, when it was New England versus Kansas City on Sunday night. And it delivered. It was a great matchup. Now here we are, New Orleans and the Rams in the Dome, and that crowd's going to be absolutely bonkers for this game. Both teams are really good. The Rams are undefeated. The Saints only lost 1 game in this entire season. Something has to give. Jared Goff has been great. Todd Gurley, amazing. Brandon Cooks, he definitely has been a difference maker for the offensive line and for more for the wide receiving core. I think New England's starting to regret that they let him go. Then on top of that, defensively, they've been really good. And then on the when you got the Saints, Drew Brees, or Drew Brees is Jesus, as one of my buddies like to call him. He's been playing like he's been in the fountain of youth Alvin Kamara has been amazing. Mark Ingram is starting to get his legs underneath him and is looking great. Michael Thomas, an amazing wide receiver. Defensively, they actually been flying and get to the football quickly and everything else. So you got two evenly matched teams with everything on the line. This could turn out to be a war. This is a bloodbath game, man. This is going to be maybe the last team who gets the ball could possibly walk out of here with a victory. That's how good this game is. So who wins? My opinion, I got to go with New Orleans. I got to go for the upset here and say that because of the fact that they're at home and they play a lot more better at home than they do at any other game. Look, you can even openly admit, I think the Rams got very lucky that they beat Green Bay last week. And Green Bay wasn't playing with the full deck. New Orleans is. New Orleans has all their players. There hasn't been a major injury up to this point that I know of. And I think the Saints are better. And I hate to say that because, Anthony, I know how high you've been on the Rams all season long, no doubt about it. But I'm going to say this. There might be another bigger game of the century. As a matter of fact, we might have a Super Bowl preview in 2 weeks when my Kansas City Chiefs goes up against your Rams. The two teams that we've been very high on all season long might wage war in a couple of weeks in LA, and who knows what that could lead to. That could be a Sunday nighter. So, we're going to wait and see.
The Chiefs and Rams? Huh? Chiefs and Rams? No, that's Monday night.
Oh, it's a Monday night game. Okay, I stand corrected.
And it's also at one of your favorite venues, the Estadio de Azteca.
Yeah. So in Mexico City. So yeah. So I mean, oh man, what a game it's gonna be. But like I said, I gotta go with New Orleans. I think they're gonna win this game. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, this is a big game with a big game feel. I mean, who knows? I mean, this could turn out to be a preview of the NFC Championship game later on because, I mean, what can you say with the Rams last week? I mean, they get to the limit against the Green Bay Packers, and I'll tell you what, if Montgomery didn't fumble that ball, who knows? The Packers may have came out with the upset, but I'll tell you what. I mean, the Rams going to the Superdome. That crowd's going to be fired, and that defense for the Rams is going to get really tested against this New Orleans Saints offense. I mean, with Drew Brees continuing to look good, that offense with Michael Thomas, and that duo of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, that could give this Rams team problems. So, yes, I mean, there's nothing more that needs to be said. I'm going to make it 3 for 3. I think the Saints are going to pull off the upset. 37-34. Saints end the Rams' undefeated season. So, nothing more to say. I'm looking forward to this game. So, nothing more to say. Well, there is another game I'm looking forward to, and we're going to talk about it right now, Florio.
Oh, yes. And, Bullock, you're not the only one who's looking forward to that Rams-Saint game. We're all looking forward to that one, without a doubt. Okay. You thought that game was big. Well, this one is just as big. It's not bigger, but it is still another one of our games of the week. It's our third and final top 3 game of the week matchup. The Green Bay Packers squaring off against the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. You're going to have a beauty on your hands, my friends. New England opening up as 5 to 6 point favorites. Series history between these two, it's tied 5-5. So whoever wins will take the regular season series lead all time. Their last meeting was 2014 in Green Bay at Lambeau. Packers won 26-21, our last game of the century before we had our Rams Saint game. Last meeting in New England was in 2010. That was also on a Sunday night. New England escaped with a 31-27 win. What a game that was. The infamous, I believe that was the infamous Dan Connolly game, if I recall correctly. Green Bay last won in New England back in 2002. That was a 28-10 win, the first year of Gillette Stadium. So I believe we have all the schematics in place. And I believe it's MF who actually gets to lead off on this one. MF, you get to lead off on our third and final top 3 game of the week. What a matchup. Green Bay, New England, under the lights at Gillette on Sunday night. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Again, I say, another main event. And it's what the words main event were meant for, because this is another main event. It don't get no bigger than these two all-time greats.
If you think about it, Anthony, this is a double main event. This is like WrestleMania 8. This is a double main event type of feel. You get the appetizer of the Rams and the Saints, and the main course is actually Patriots and Packers. Both teams are coming off some very good wins lately. Packers, a heartbreak loss and an idiotic loss, if you really think about it. That was they really shot themselves in the foot, and it. They let one get away. They played nearly the perfect game and should have beaten the Rams. There's no doubts about it. And as far as New England goes, they're just picking up right where they left off. A lot of people had a lot of questions about them earlier in the year, and going up against Buffalo, the first half, they played horrible. I mean, Michael Bullock, I think you were probably pulling the hair out, whatever hair you got left on your head, you were probably pulling it out, especially after that very lackluster first half. But they turned it around in the second half and won the game. But still, I mean, you want to talk about a junk. They were playing horrible. Derek Ferrera flipping out as usual, like any fair weather Patriot fan would. Trust me, Ferrera wasn't the only one that was jumping off the Totem Bridge or even the Braga Bridge in Fall River, if you know that area. Everybody was flipping out, saying, "Why is this Patriot team so garbage in the first half?" Look, they underestimate them. They're slow starters. I don't know what the deal is with New England, but they adjust to the game as they always do, and they turn it around in the second half. That's really New England's MO. So it's like they I don't know what to say about it. It's that they play horrible in the first half. After they do the halftime adjustments, they flip the switch, and there goes the Patriots. Everything is good in the world. But with Green Bay, the way they play, I'm going to tell you this. They cannot afford to play that style of game. They cannot afford to start out slow and think Green Bay is gonna lay down for them like that, because Green Bay will punch them in the mouth. And if that happens, look out, guys. We might have problems. So we'll see what happens. I say New England wins it. I think they are definitely the better team. My final score is 31-23. New England beats. New England knocks off and beats the Green Bay Packers. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yes, and well, I'll say this to you, Fletch, before I talk about it. I'm not going to be like any of those other fair weather fans saying, "Oh, this team is garbage. They're playing like trash, like Derek Ferrera." No way, because I say, look.
It's not just Ferrera. Let's not start any trouble here, because Ferrera's not the only one that actually.
Some others too.
There's quite a few people that I know that does this. Ferreira
I can tell you, folks, this is not
gone on.
me.
Yeah, Ferreira has gone on record because he always makes a video about it. But trust me, his anger has always been publicly. He always bashes the team on social media. But I know quite a few people that bashes the Patriots behind the scenes. They're just a bunch of gutless cowards because they don't man up and they don't express themselves on social media like Ferreira does. At least Ferreira, when he's angry, he voices it. There's a couple of people out there that I know, and I don't give a damn that I'm throwing them under the bus because they deserve to be thrown under the bus. Because there's a bunch of gutless cowards that won't man up and say and have the guts or the balls to say about what they really feel about their teams.
Exactly. But I would never go and use like F-bombs and all that like Derek Ferreira would. But that's another story for another day. But anyhow, get into this. I definitely remember that game from 2010 when that Dan Connolly return where he almost actually scored, and Aaron Rodgers didn't even play in that game because I think he had a concussion. So, ironically, this is his first time ever that he's going to get to play at Gillette Stadium. So, and who could ever forget the last time these two teams met in the it was in the 2014 season, and that turned out to be a good one. So, I expect another good one here. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe the Patriots might get off to another slow start, and then make adjustments in the second half and be who they are. So, yeah, I got. But the thing is, I got New England winning this well. I'm gonna say, 31-23. I'm gonna say that's the correct score there. So, nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
It's not often I do this, but I'm going to give you boys the tale of the tape here. Tom Brady, 41 years old. Aaron Rodgers, 34 years old. Tom Brady has played 19 seasons. Aaron Rodgers, 14 seasons. Tom Brady's career record, 202 and 57. Aaron Rodgers' career record, 97, 51, and 1. Tom Brady has won 3 MVPs. Aaron Rodgers, 2 MVPs. Tom Brady selected to 13 Pro Bowls. Aaron Rodgers selected to 6. Most important of all, Tom Brady, 5 Super Bowl championships. Aaron Rodgers, only 1. And gentlemen, that was the tale of the tape right there. The Packers nearly upset the Rams last week, but do they have anything left mentally? Could their best performance be a galvanizing moment that turns their season around? Aaron Rodgers won the only previous meeting in 2014 at Lambeau Field, but Tom Brady gets the nod this time in what could be their final head-to-head showdown. By the way, anyone up for another overtime game? All week, Patriots players have said this will be a 60-minute game likely to come down to the wire. That would be fitting in a matchup pitting Brady versus Rodgers. And with the Packers 0-3 on the road, the edge should go to the home team. New England is the favorite, 68.2%. The Patriots rank in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, according to FPI, but actually rank higher in defensive, 4th, than offensive, 8th. In FPI's data set, since the start of the 08 season, the Patriots have never finished the season ranked higher in defensive efficiency than offensive efficiency. I got the New England Patriots winning this game, and gentlemen, I'm actually going to grow a set here. And I'm going to go on the record and say, I think this game's going to go to overtime. I really do. But I've got the New England Patriots winning it, of course. 33-30 in overtime, the New England Patriots over the Green Bay Packers in what I think will be a 5-star classic. chock full of Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. So, nothing more to say, gentlemen, except we have one game left, and that is Monday Night Football. A middle-of-the-road matchup here. We got the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. ESPN Monday Night Football, you know who's working this? Joe Tessitore, along with Jason Witten, going back home to Dallas. I'm sure you know he'll get a hero's welcome, along with Booger McFarland and Lisa Salters. Dallas opening up as 5 to 5.5 point favorites. Dallas also leads the all-time series 8-6. Their last meeting was 2014 in Tennessee. Cowboys won that 26-10. Last meeting in Dallas was 2010, and Tennessee came away with the win 34-27. The Cowboys have not beaten the Titans at home since 2002 when they were at the old Texas Stadium, 21-13. So that's the end of that. So, Michael Bullock, I believe we lead off with you here. Our final game of the week, Tennessee and Dallas on Monday night in Jerry World. Who you got?
Yeah, I expect this to be a good one here. Yeah, hold on, just give me a minute while I pull this up here. Yeah, I mean, both teams are basically 3-4. I mean, yeah, and yeah, give me just. Yeah, here we go. I mean, yeah, both of these teams. What can you say? They're coming off byes, and both coming off losing their recent game by close scores. Of course, the Cowboys coming off of a loss to the Redskins thanks to a missed field goal, but they did get a big boost in the on the offensive side of the ball by getting Amari Cooper from the Oakland Raiders. So that could definitely was it should definitely help them out and hopefully get them going. But of course the Cowboys, they're going to be dealing with the ninth ranked pass defense in the. I mean, the Titans present. They have a ninth ranked pass defense, and they're also pretty good against the run, allowing just about 4 yards a carry. And they got to try to contain Ezekiel Elliott. So, yeah, and they did make some changes. Of course, they fired offensive line coach Paul Alexander. And, of course, assistant offensive line coach Mark Colombo has been promoted to the offensive line coach. So, yeah, so who knows? Maybe this is what they need here. And, yeah, so, of course, of course, the Titans lost a tough one to the Chargers, 20-19. And, yeah, so hopefully Marcus Mariota can be really good. And, of course, with Corey Davis, their leading receiver. So it's tough, but I got to go with the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I'm going to say 28-24 is going to be my final score. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, let me see. Both defenses are near the top of the NFL in points allowed this season, so this game isn't likely to have a lot of fireworks. The X factor for the Titans will be running back Dion Lewis, getting him involved in the passing game, especially on choice routes, and in the screen game is the best way to move the ball against Dallas. Defensively, Tennessee has to keep Ezekiel Elliott from getting into a groove, which sets up the play action pass. Take Elliott away, and the Cowboys' offense suffers. The Cowboys have won their first 3 games this season at AT&T Stadium, the first time that has happened since it opened in 2009. During the bye week, the Cowboys added receiver Amari Cooper and a new offensive line coach. Tennessee gave up touchdown catches of 55 and 75 yards in its last game, a good sign for the Cowboys, who want to get Cooper's speed into the passing game. In 3 home games, Dak Prescott has 7 pass plays of 20 yards or more. He and Cooper should have at least 1 deep completion against the Titans. Dallas, 75.1% favorite here. Prescott at 54.4 and Marcus Mariota 54.3 have nearly the same total QBR this season, but it's Dallas that has the more efficient offense according to FPI. Combine that with an edge in defensive efficiency and home field advantage, and the Cowboys are the heavy favorite Monday night. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. My final score, 24-13, Dallas over Tennessee. Nothing more to say. MF, wrap up this Monday night matchup, Tennessee and Dallas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You guys made very compelling points, to say the very least. I just feel Dallas is definitely the more superior and better team. When it's all said and done, gentlemen, I'm with you guys. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win it. Nothing more to say, and let's just move on.
I don't know where MF went, but it is now time for the NFL power rankings. I'm not sure if MF will be back or if MF's calling it a night here, but nonetheless,
yeah. If he doesn't come back, then why don't you just take it? Since I'll probably agree with you.
Yeah, you're probably going to. So let me just load up my my notes here. Or I should say my spreadsheet. All right, just waiting for my spreadsheet to load up. All right, there we are. All right. I'm going to start it off at I'll start it off at number 10, and I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I mean, 5 straight victories have put this team atop the AFC South, but losing Will Fuller for the season will hurt when they come off their bye. Now, that was I had a hard time with my number 10, but from 9 up, well, actually, 9 and 10 were my tough ones, but from 8 up, it'll be easy. I got Houston coming in at number 10, and my number 9, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. Actually, no, I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals at number 10. I mean, it wasn't pretty against the Bucs, especially on defense, but they found a way, and they head to the bye in the playoff mix. So I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals at number 10. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans at number 9. 5 straight wins that put them atop the AFC South. But like I said, losing Will Fuller for the season will hurt when they come off the bye. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But from 8 on up, it'll definitely be easy here. So my number 8, going with the Carolina Panthers. That was an impressive victory against the Ravens. They are getting better on offense by the week. Number 7, Washington Redskins. Their defense might be good enough to carry them to a division title. That defense will be tested against the Falcons this week. Number 6, Pittsburgh Steelers. They came out of their bye with an impressive division victory over the Browns. Now comes a tough road one against the rival Ravens. Top 5, I got the Los Angeles Chargers at number 5. They come off the bye with an interesting game against the Seahawks, who are playing well. The continued improvement on defense will decide how far they go. Number 4, Kansas City Chiefs. They continue to put up big numbers on offense, and the pass rush is getting better. They do need to run it better, though. Number 3, New England Patriots. It wasn't pretty against the Buffalo Bills, but they found a way. They have to be better against Green Bay. And, of course, obviously, you know who our top 2 are. Number 2, obviously, New Orleans Saints. An impressive road victory against the Minnesota Vikings. The defense is making strides by the week. And, of course, number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. The sign of good teams is that they find a way to win games when they don't play as well as expected. The Rams did that last week against Green Bay to stay undefeated. So that's pretty much the power rankings. So that's it. We're going to put a bow on this Week 9 edition of NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to get into our shout-outs real quick. And Michael Bullock, right on cue, you started off.
Yeah, of course. We thank you all so very much for tuning in for another great edition of of Strictly Sports NFL Friday. And of course, shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows. And of course, shout out to all of our super fans out there. You guys know who you are. To all of our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. All of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12. Our personalities from ESPN, Fox Sports, NFL Network, NBA TV, NHL Network. And of course, a big shout out to the guys at MLB Network who did a magnificent job covering the 2018 World Series. I mean, especially in that Game 3 where it lasted late into the night, and I mean, really late to say the very least, which Florio and I said it was the greatest World Series game ever. So, shout outs to all of you guys at MLB Network for a great job of covering the 2018 World Series. So, yeah, and of course, our friends from the Road Show, the former co-host Mary Larson and Megan Mooney, and of course the current host Will, Brendan, and Michaela. Which, of course, I love what they did on on Halloween with their costumes. So yeah, so there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So until Monday night for an all new edition of Ridiculously Raw. This is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in, and of course, you know the routine. Everybody, thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the college football action later today, and of course, all the NFL action on Sunday. So, nothing more to say. Florio, take us home.
Yeah, we'll do Bullock. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to watch our shows each and every week. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, a special shout out to Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Of course, Matt, our insiders, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, the crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, along with Al Bradison, Rob Parsons, and of course, Derek Pereira himself. I have two special shout outs I'm saving for the end. Of course, all of our personalities at 6, 10, and 12, all of our friends from the MLB Network, NFL Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, Lindsey McCormick, Stata Sorrell, our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, the former co-host Megan Mooney, Mary Larson. Of course, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. A big service coming up on Sunday. Really looking forward to it. Pastor's daughter is going to be preaching. It's going to be something else. I cannot wait. Of course, Sunday mornings at 9, Bible study. A little after 10, the Sunday morning service. Wednesday night at 7, Bible study. Other things going on. And like I said, a huge service on Sunday. I cannot wait to be a part of it. It's going to be something else, like I said. Two very special shout-outs I want to get into. First shout-out goes to two close friends. Both of these shout-outs go to two very close friends of myself and Bullock. The first one, of course, I want to give a very special shout-out to our friend Mike Keenan, who does a wonderful podcast over on Anchor. This new app called Anchor, which is a great app for podcasts. I'm pleased to announce that I will be on Mr. Keenan's podcast tomorrow afternoon at 1:00. So definitely check that out if you get a chance.
And I've been on there too.
Yes, Michael Bullock has been on there as well. And of course, our other good friend Ryan Abedizian has been on there as well. But I think I've been on there more than anybody since he started that podcast some time ago. But nonetheless,
yeah, definitely big shout out to him.
Yes, big shout out to Mike Keenan and his family, his brother Brian, and the rest of his family. Very close friend, dear friends of ours, and yes, indeed. So he and I will be doing another podcast over on his Anchor, 1:00 sometime tomorrow afternoon. Give it a whirl. It's going to be great. And I also have another very special shout out that I want to get into. Another close friend of ours, Jimmy Alden. I want to give a very special shout out to Jimmy Alden. I didn't even know this, but he writes. I guess he does some. I don't know. He does writing for some site, I guess. And Bullock, you're not going to believe who he's going to be interviewing sometime on Sunday morning. You're not going to believe this.
Oh,
DDP.
What?
I'm not kidding you. He's
You
going to be
mean
interviewing
Diamond Dallas Page?
Diamond Dallas Page. Jimmy Alden is going to be doing an interview with DDP. I asked him to post it when he has the chance, and he actually invited me to go with him. But it's on Sunday morning, and that's going to interfere with my church stuff, and I do not want to go against that. You know how seriously I take my church on Sunday mornings, but man alive, Jimmy Alden will be interviewing DDP, and as soon as he gets the contents, he's going to post it. And I asked him to share it with Bullock and MF as well. So yeah, very special shout out to Jimmy Alden indeed. So a very close friend of ours. You know, I met him back in our junior high days, and you know, he's been a wonderful friend to us all these years, and you know, more power to him. And I cannot wait to either see, hear, or read this interview that he's going to have with Diamond Dallas Page. It's going to be something else. I cannot wait. So we'll definitely keep you posted on when that comes out. So very special shout out to our friend Jimmy Alden, and that's it. So of course, as Bullock mentioned, we'll next be with you Monday night for Ridiculously Raw as they head overseas. They'll be in the UK, Manchester, United Kingdom. All the fallout from Crown Jewel, which I do not care to discuss right now. I'm just going to park it at that. We'll review that Monday Night Raw. And, of course, I'll get into my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling as usual. Then either Tuesday or Wednesday, the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Braves Fan 95. Review the Crown Jewel fallout from SmackDown Live over on the Cerebral Smack Talk. And, of course, MF will also have his first of two Lucha Underground reviews. Of course, Lucha Underground, their WrestleMania, if you will, Ultima Lucha Quattro, kicked off this week, and MF will have his thoughts on part one of that. So, two-part thing. The part two will be on Wednesday night, a big 2-hour show. You don't want to miss that. So I know MF's going to get into that. And then Thursday night, of course, College Football Thursday, another big show to get into. Cannot wait to get into some of the big matchups for next week. And, of course, right back here next week for NFL Friday. And, you know, some interesting matchups, of course. And for the first time in a long time, we actually have an interesting Thursday night matchup with the Carolina Panthers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The New Orleans Saints scoring off against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's going to be a good one. How about the Patriots against Tennessee? I mean, that should be an interesting one. The Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. And how about the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles? That's going to be hella fun as well. So those are just some of the exciting matchups to look forward to next week here on NFL Friday. So that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Dede Woodson, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy the college football action later today. Enjoy all the NFL action on Sunday. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you were watching Week 9 of Strictly Sports NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 and YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.